This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles, brought to you by our friends at Athletic Greens. 75 high-quality vitamins to help you start your day right. Greg, an interesting game on Sunday at Lambeau Field. Of course, Bailey Zappi comes in after Brian Hoyer goes out. Before we get into those game thoughts, let's hit a few of the headlines surrounding this team, starting with Jamie Collins. Yes, Jamie Collins is back. He's never going to leave. This seems like it's the 15th time he's a Patriot, Greg.
Yeah, it wasn't a big surprise. I think we talked about it last week in relation to the play of Mack Wilson, who got pressed into service a bit when Raekwon McMillan's dealing with an injury. I think it's a thumb. I'm not really sure. And Mack Wilson had to play a lot last week against the Ravens. He was not good against the Ravens. I said, given Jamie Collins' workout, if there was going to be a game that got the Patriots to sign another inside linebacker, it would have been the Ravens game. And then you put this Packers game on top of it, where their linebacker play was really just abysmal. It was not a big part of the reason, but it was definitely part of the reason why the Packers had an easy time running the ball, and the Patriots had to add somebody, an experienced voice is good. It's interesting that it's not Dante Hightower. I don't know why that is. I don't know why. Maybe they think Collins is a little bit faster than Hightower. Who knows? At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if Dante Hightower comes back, because, it's just Bill just can't quit certain things in terms of his defense and experience. And, you would have thought that how some of the rookies fared in this game, that it would, be an impetus to play, hey, let's take a chance on some more young guys, because at least, they're going to make mistakes, but they also might make some explosive plays, as we saw with Jack Jones in this game. But, Jamie Collins, I also wanted to put in there, might as well group it in here, Marcus Cannon getting into the game. He reverted back to the practice squad after the game, but that's just a formality. I think that given Isaiah Wynn's performance in this game, how he's played the last about 3 weeks now, that you could be looking at Marcus Cannon being your next right tackle. So, hey, it's like 2012 all over again, Nick.
It's a reunion, everybody. It's a reunion. Come on back. Come on in. The water's warm. Called the Niners about Isaiah Wynn. See if you can get like a 4th-round pick from them. Trent Williams is down. McKivitz went down last night with a knee. They are down to their 3rd-string tackle on the left side, blind side of Jimmy Garoppolo. Call Kyle Shanahan. You worked a deal with him before. Do it again.
Yep.
Send him in across the country. Send him out here to me, right? Send him out here to me all the way across the country, because he's just been bad. I thought Cannon settled the offensive line down a little bit when he got into that game on Sunday. I'm fine with Cannon, whatever. He's not great, but he's better than Wynn, because Wynn's not giving you much. Linebacker, look, we talked about it when Cam McGrone was not put on this active roster. The Patriots did not evaluate the linebacker position well enough. Mm-hmm. They put all their eggs in the basket of Tavai and McMillan and, everybody else, McGrone and Wilson, and they swung and missed. That's just point blank, period, end of story. They could have upgraded the linebacker position. They decided not to. And for people saying, oh, Raekwon's hurt. Yeah, that's why he missed last year too. So to think he was going to be able to come back and stay healthy, they could have gone a different route. They could have brought in 1 or 2 different pieces at that position. I was fine with the Wilson trade, because Winovich does not fit this team. Yep. And, that was fine to take that swing. But they missed on Wilson. And, McMillan's hurt again. Tavai is just bad and inconsistent. McGrone is obviously not healthy enough. So, they placed their bets on those guys and they lost the bet. And now they're going to go out and get Collins, which, is not where you want to be. Hopefully he still has some football left in him. Quick update from this morning, Greg. I saw my guy Zolak. My guy Zoe and Bertrand say that Tyquan Thornton is close, and that he's, getting back to close to getting back to normal. I want your thoughts on Thornton, because, look, I want to be reasonable with this. The reasonable impact that he can bring, because I think people got excited about him in the preseason, and some fans might expect him to kind of parachute in and be this complete game-changing guy. I don't think that's reasonable to expect from a rookie who's coming off of an injury. But could Thornton help this offense? And if so, how much could he help it when he gets back?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see exactly when he gets back. I mean, he might be feeling better. I mean, he had a broken collarbone, so really it's on the x-rays. I mean, he might be well enough to start getting his legs under him and things like that. In terms of when he actually gets back, the impact that he can make on the field, it's tough when you're a rookie and you miss that much time. It really is. I mean, I think it's, at first he's sort of like a shot play type of guy, gadget guy, a few plays here and there each game. And then you see, ideally, if he stayed on the same path that he was going, I think that he had a chance to be one of their, in terms of playing snaps, one of their top players. He gives them playmaking ability in the middle of the field. I think he's more of the wide receiver screen gadget type of guy, better than Aguilar, better than Parker. Bourne does a little bit of that when he gets a chance to play. But my big thing is talking about Tyquan Thornton. Like, where's he going to play? I mean, obviously they're not taking Devontae Parker off the field. Jacoby Myers is going to be back, I assume, even though it's kind of weird that it looked like he was tracking to play this week, then suddenly he didn't, and now this is 2 games since he made those comments to Mike Giardi of NFL Network, sort of questioning the plan that he's been MIA. Certainly injury, I mean, maybe it's just injury related, who knows, probably is, but you at least have to make note of that. Little Jordan Humphrey is still out there playing snaps, so they're going to take him off the field, or, God forbid, it was hilarious to watch in this game, Nick, that their opening drive of the second half, their first touchdown drive of the game, they come out after halftime. Kendrick Bourne's on the field the whole time, and they run the ball down the Packers' throats. Like, I didn't think that was possible. I thought LJ Humphrey had to be on the field for the Patriots to be able to run the ball. I mean, they ran, I think it was like 4 times for like 40 yards on that drive. Like, it was something to see. Oh wait, they ran 4 times for 30 yards on that. But and also I also want to point out that the play action touchdown that was, I think it was it Devontae Parker who was wide open. A lot of that happened because Kendrick Bourne was a threat to the middle of the field, and it was a coverage bust because the Packers were supposed to be in cover 3, but the cornerback got distracted by Kendrick Bourne, and so he forgot to drop off. And so that just shows you the threat of having a playmaker on the field, what they could do even if they don't have the ball, where if that's LJ Humphrey, they probably ignore him running down the field because they'd never throw him the ball. So I just had to point that out. But, where does Thornton play? I mean, between Parker, Myers, LJ Humphrey, Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, who's he taking snaps from? I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how he fits in and if he fits in, right? I mean, it's one of those big time questions with Bourne struggling to get on the field. Does Thornton just, immediately, like I said, parachute in? And off of the Bourne stuff and running the football, last time I checked, I want to ask you, though, Greg, just to make sure, was little Jordan Humphrey on this team last year?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, he wasn't. Let's see. Where did the Patriots rank in rush yards last year? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They were the eighth best rushing team when it comes to total rushing yards last season, with Kendrick Bourne playing a lot of snaps and no LJ Humphrey. Okay. They were top 10 when it comes to yards per carry at 4.4 yards a carry last year. So don't give me they have to have LJ Humphrey out there to run the football. They were top 10 rushing offense last year with Kendrick Bourne. Get out of my face with it. Who will play? Let's look at quarterback, Greg. Who's going to play quarterback this week? Is it Zappy Zapster Zap, or is it Hoyer? Or does Mac Jones all of a sudden come out and down the tunnel ready to play?
If I had to be a betting man, if I was betting on this, I would bet on Bailey Zappi being the quarterback for this team this week. I saw Brian Hoyer leaving the locker room after the game, had his hood on over, head down, walking slowly, did not look good. Mac Jones We'll see. I'm sure he's going to do everything that he can to try to play. He's a tough guy, and I expect that. I expect him to be on the practice field, if not all week, at least most of the week. But I think this is a little bit early for him. Yes, he did make progress the first few days, but a lot of times that can sort of plateau, and I think we're in sort of that area where I think this is going to be tough for him. Maybe he comes back the next week when I think they play the Browns, possibly. But if I had to say right now, I think it's Zappe.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't, especially with everything going on with the concussion situation in the NFL. Belichick saying yesterday that he's held guys out of games even if they've passed it at times. It's a very delicate situation right now for the league, and I think every team is going to err on the side of caution for the vast majority of these decisions to make. So I don't think Hoyer comes back this week. Maybe Mack is going to be the emergency quarterback in case things go terrible. But I do think that Bailey Zappe will start this game against Detroit on Sunday. All right, let's get to the game thoughts for the Packers. Your first note is that this game was about the Packers. Explain that to us.
Yeah, so, I understand that if you haven't seen the Packers play very much over the years, maybe outside of a playoff game here and there, and you hear the reputation, Aaron Rodgers, and they're certainly mentioned among the favorites to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC, and I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I think you might have also, Nick. So I understand from the 10,000-foot view, you look at going into that game and you're just like, oh, this is a really formidable team. The Patriots lost their backup quarterback. They're on their third-string quarterback, and they had the Packers on the ropes, and they lost in overtime. They took them 70 minutes. And the 10,000-foot view, I understand. That's impressive. And competing with your third-string quarterback against anybody, especially against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, it's impressive. But, what you have to understand about the Packers, and we talked about this going into the game. We talked about how they had a big victory in Tampa Bay the week before against Tom Brady. I know I did, and I think you did, Nick, as well. I mean, we both picked the Packers to win, but to cover the 9.5-point spread. And one of the reasons why I did is because I've seen this team. I used to cover this team. I've watched them a lot over the years, sort of keeping up and watching the guys that I used to cover, especially Aaron. This team has a long history of playing down to their opponents, having letdowns the week after big games, even at home, especially at home. I've seen them do it against teams like, the Lions in their own division. And so, when I watched this game, I thought that Rodgers played largely like crap most of this game. He did pull a few plays out of his rear end, a couple of Rodgers plays, but I thought he played terrible. The pick six was it was telegraphed. It was lazy. He even said after the game that he played terrible. And the Patriots offensively, they had the first drive of the game for a field goal. Then they didn't do anything. They had the 2 touchdown drives in the second half. Yes, impressive that they were able to do it. But, the Packers defensively aren't that good. We knew going in that they were last in a defensive efficiency against the run coming in. The Patriots finally got back to just running the ball, and they basically went run, play action, guys wide open. Bailey hit a pass, hit a couple passes, and that was it. And so they had the first drive, those 2 drives, and outside of that, they did nothing. They had 3 drives to win the game, to put the Packers out of their misery, and they had 9 plays, 14 yards. And you can say, oh, well, it's Bailey Zappe, this and that. I understand. But you still got to make a play. It was there for them. And I just think I didn't think that the Packers played very well in this game. I thought LaFleur was outmatched by Belichick. I don't think he's a very good coach. And so at the end of the day, after watching the film, I didn't come away thinking, oh, my God, the Patriots were so good in this game. They put up such an effort. I just thought that the Packers were not good in this game, and the Patriots were nearly able to take advantage of that and get a victory.
I had the Rams going to the Super Bowl, and after watching them get curb stomped last night by the Niners, I don't care about it. But looking at this game on Sunday, the Packers, I just don't think they're a very good football team.
Not right now. They're not. Nope.
No, not right now. And they might become 2 months, 3 months from now. Who knows? But right now, they're not very good. I said it before the game. I think we pretty much nailed it, frankly. And look, this is not to throw a parade on our behalf, but Greg and I believe, are like 4-0 so far, calling these games and spreads.
Yep.
And I think we pretty much got close to the final score. I mean, I think I said 24-17. Sorry, I could not predict the Jack Jones pick six. But I felt like the Patriots would put up about 17 points, and I felt like the Packers would be somewhere in the low to mid-20s. If you go back to the Tampa game now after watching Kansas City absolutely destroy that Buccaneers defense, you do wonder, like, this Packers offense has been inconsistent. Rodgers hasn't been very good. The receivers aren't very noteworthy or dependable. They, as I said before the game, limit Aaron Jones and limit that run game, and you can stay within striking distance. And they gave up some runs, obviously. Jones had a good day, but that's the team. The front seven's not great. They're not good against the run. I agree with you on Matt LaFleur. He made first of all, the 3rd and 9 go route to Dobbs was, to me, a horrendous decision. Horrendous to take a shot downfield on 3rd and long. And yeah, he almost completed it, and it would have been a touchdown if he completed the process. But you're about 7 yards away from field goal range. I thought that was a terrible play call, forced them into a 4th and 9 and a punt. And then challenging the play and losing one of your timeouts. If he doesn't check that Dobbs play, then they have 2 timeouts. They force the Patriots to run a play on 3rd down instead of just run the football and drain the clock. I thought LaFleur absolutely bungled, late in that 4th quarter, and he's lucky his team was able to win that football game in overtime. As far as Rodgers, I thought he made 2 great throws and 2 pivotal throws. The Lazard play down the sideline, Jonathan Jones had great coverage. That is a great ball, and that is a great catch. And then the Randall Cobb play on 3rd and long, as he's got pressure rushing right directly at him. And he's backpedaling and floats right over Miles Bryant to Cobb. I thought that was a terrific throw. But the Packers, people think Packers, they think, Rodgers, they think great football team. I'm telling you, they're not a great football team, at least not right now. They're middle of the pack. And that's how I see the Patriots. The Patriots are a team that if they take care of the football, they run the football, they play good defense, they can compete with the majority of teams in the league. It goes back to last year. You have like 4 or 5 teams at the very top that are cream of the crop. I was saying this on EEI a couple of years ago. Patriots fans are not used to being in that middle group. They're starting to. But, you have the top 4 or 5 teams. Then you have about, 10 to 12 teams somewhere in there where you kind of, you can compete, maybe even 15 teams where you can compete. And then you've got the truly bottom of the league, right? And the teams that go in every week and they're like, oh, geez, everything has to go right for us to win. The Patriots are in that middle tier. And that's why they can compete with the Ravens, and they turn the football over 100 times. And they still have a chance to win in the 4th quarter. That's why they go to Lambeau with their 3rd string quarterback, and they have a shot within striking distance with their 3rd string quarterback, throwing for less than like 100 yards. That's what this team is, middle tier. They're in the middle of the pack. They compete. They can compete any week with most teams if they take care of the ball and don't have massive screw-ups. Let's get to the Hoyer injury and how you think that affected Matt Patricia, and maybe making Patricia look actually better than he was.
Yeah, I think it took a lot of things off the table for Patricia as a play caller, and it really focused him in on just like running the ball. And like, look, on the 2 touchdown drives to start the second half, did he do a good job of mixing inside zone, outside zone, and calling the play action pass? Yeah, absolutely. Tip of the cap on those drives, but that's not exactly upper level play calling and offensive coordinating. I mean, it's just, I thought that, taking a lot of things off the table, knowing that Bailey Zappi probably hasn't repped a whole bunch of their plays, their specialty plays, that Patricia looked at his play sheet and it shrunk the play sheet down and really said, like, this is what we need to do. We need to manage the game. And I think Belichick realized, even despite what he said after the game, I think Belichick realized, like, look, the Packers aren't really, running away with this game. Rodgers is off. He had like an 11 quarterback rating in the first half, and it wasn't because of the Packers defense. The Patriots defense. It was because that's just what he does at times. He goes through stretches of games where he's disinterested. And I think that really helped out Patricia, and it sort of like handcuffed him to be like, all right, just run the ball inside, run the ball outside, call play action. Like, I just thought it really focused him in. And we'll talk more about some of the issues that I still think that Matt Patricia has as an offense coordinator in BSJ Film Room in a little bit. But I think that the injury actually in this game helped the Patriots because, it forced Patricia to go at the Packers' weakness, which is their rush defense. It's not very good. The rookie linebacker, Quay Walker, was terrible in this game. If you wanted the Patriots to draft a linebacker to help their linebacking core, Walker would have been one of those guys. Look, he's a rookie. I mean, it's tough. The kid in Jacksonville, I was just thinking of him the other day. Devin Lloyd is another guy that would have been an alternative to, say, Cole Strange, who again struggled in this game. But I do think that the injury actually ended up benefiting the Patriots and helping Matt Patricia.
One quick thing here before we get to the BSJ Film Room with you, and of course, people watching the YouTube version of this podcast, you're going to love the film room, and people listening to the podcast, try to jump on YouTube to watch it when you get home. But one more thing, that the play calling in the overtime, a lot of people were commenting on some of the decision making by Belichick and Patricia there. You're looking at the 2nd and 5 play. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought once they held Rodgers and the Packers to 3 and out to start overtime. They get the ball, I think, at their own 49, basically at midfield. So you only need about 15 yards to give yourself a chance to win the game. I mean, you basically just answered the call. You held off Rodgers. You got the ball back. And ultimately, I don't have a problem with them punting on 4th and 5. In that situation with Bailey Zappi as quarterback and not, at that point in time, how many plays does Zappi run? Matt Patricia's probably looking at his play sheet and be like, has Bailey Zappi even run this play? Like, do we really want to put him in that circumstance? So to me, once they got 5 yards on 1st down, I thought 2nd and 5 was when they should have been aggressive. That is at least, as opposed to some other plays, which we're going to break down. Patricia has shown a weakness on 2nd and long, being able to call plays. But 2nd and medium, where, look, the Packers have been gashed at times in the run game. You just got 5 yards off of them. You figure that they're going to be uber aggressive if you show run action on this play. You got to go play action. You say, all right, we've built to this. We're going for the win right here, and we're going play action, boot, drag somebody on the other side of the field, try to get 10 yards right there, which will give you the 15, because, once you get the 3rd down, then all bets are off. And now, Bailey's probably going to get pressure. How's he going to handle that? So to me, the key play was 2nd and 5. I thought that's where Belichick should have stepped in and said, go for the win right here. This is when we got enough yards to set it up on 1st down, to set up 2nd down. Go for the victory here. And instead they run outside zone. The Packers run a counter to it. Cole Strange, gives up the play. They go for no gain. Now it's 3rd and 5. And now you're on your heels. What do you do? And, they failed on the 3rd down play with execution and have to punt it away, which I don't have a problem with punting the ball away there. Pin them back and then get a stop and try again.
I don't have an issue with the punt once you're at 4th and 5. I would have run the football on 3rd down. And I know they ran the football on 1st and 2nd down. I get it.
Yep.
When you look at that situation, you really need 1 first down and maybe a couple of more yards, and you're in field goal range. And to me, they were at a part of the field, right? They're on the positive side there. At 3rd and 5, I think the Packers were expecting pass at 3rd and 5. Run the football. If you get 3 yards, now it's a decision. Now you're 4th and 2. Yep. You're closer to the 40-yard line. You have a chance to get a first down. I would have gone for it at that point if it was 4th and 2 or less. So I'm running the ball again on 3rd down, thinking if I get 3 yards or more, we're looking good. And you don't go play action on 2nd down. You're 3rd and 5. Now you put it again in Zappi's hands. in a 3rd and 5 situation. Things go wrong, and now you're 4th and 5, and you got nothing out of back-to-back plays. I would have run the ball again on 3rd down, and I would not have been opposed to maybe a little bit of an end around to Kendrick Bourne or something funky. If you're going to run the ball, the stretch zone run, okay, it worked a few times in this game, but maybe go back to your bread and butter on such a huge call. So I just, I didn't agree with what they did in that overtime drive. They had a golden opportunity to win that football game. I would also say, before we get to the BSJ film room, I do give this defense a little bit of credit. I think I don't want to paint it as, oh, well, it was all because Rodgers just wasn't good. I mean, they played well in week 1 against Miami. We all thought it was because of, 2 of this, 2 of that. Miami, pretty good offense, not great offense, but they played pretty well with Tua. They limited Tyreek Hill. They limited Jalen Waddle in that game outside of the mistake at the end of the first half. Lamar Jackson killed him with his legs. And Mark Andrews was a big problem. I'm not going to sit there and try to sugarcoat Baltimore's game, especially in the second half. But I think this defense is good enough to compete. Are they a top 10 defense? Probably not. But right now they're good enough to keep the team in the game if they can put some points on the board. All right, we'll have BSJ Film Room in a minute. But first, Greg, tell us about the Athletic Greens.
I started taking AG1 because I wanted to make sure I was getting all the vitamins and nutritional supplements I needed in one place. Now I've been on it for 3 months, and I love it. It doesn't taste like it's super healthy, has kind of a mild, tropical, little minty taste, and I actually look forward to it each morning. So what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all the things you're looking for. I take it first thing in the morning. It's now part of my routine, and I'd be lost without it. I love how it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. Yeah, even though it's a green juice, I'm telling you, it tastes good. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Bedard. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Bedard. to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
BEDARD, Bedard is the code. All right, let's jump into the film room with Greg. Let's look at Matt Patricia. And you mentioned this a couple of minutes ago, Greg. Patricia is struggling on his 2nd and long play calls, and that propped up a number of times in this game. You have 3 specific plays you want to break down. Let's start with the opening drive, 2nd and 9 at the Green Bay 18.
Yeah, so they've been driving down the field, and I think Matt Patricia is fine when they stay ahead of the sticks. They're running the ball and they're in 2nd and manageable, but he keeps running into trouble on 2nd and long. So you're looking at this play, it's 2nd and I think on the play sheet it's actually 2nd and 9. So what you're thinking here, he ends up calling like a wide receiver, like little screen here. But I don't understand the call on 2nd and 9. Like, okay, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5 even, when you think, really, you're trying to get them in man coverage. You're trying to hopefully, ideally, they're bringing pressure, so they're shorthanded. So all of a sudden you do a quick throw, you got to throw back. So they call this is 2nd and 9, and you see the Packers. They're just sitting back in zone. They have, they have 2 deep safeties. They're all 3 cornerbacks. The Patriots are in single back, 1 tight end, which is Jonnu Smith. They have Lil Jordan Humphrey, of course, in the slot, Nelson Aguilar, and then to the right, Devontae Parker to the left. The Packers cornerbacks are all about 5 to 7 yards off the receiver, and you're hoping to actually get the Packers to bring more pressure on this play, and they're going to run stretch zone play action and then throwback. And they end up rushing. They end up rushing 5, and they have it set up with the offensive lineman. The problem is that the cornerback, who's on Devontae Parker, recognizes him not going deep, and he comes up and he just snuffs out the play. I mean, if for some reason you can avoid that cornerback, the Patriots have a touchdown probably. They have 2 offensive linemen out in front. But to me, that play was defeated by the call. Like it was, you as a play caller, you're anticipating what defense are they in. You don't call that play unless you think the defense is going to be aggressive, and they just got completely busted on that. The second play I wanted to look at was
that second play, Greg. While you're looking for the second play, I'll jump a second because you said something about DBs playing off of wide receivers. Go back to the overtime. It infuriated me that the Patriots in overtime, when the Packers only needed, 10, 15, 20 yards for field goal range, that their defensive backs for some reason were playing 10, 15 yards off the wide receivers. They were playing way too soft on the outside. And Rodgers played a game of pitch and catch twice and just absolutely stole like 15, 17 yards. And I did not understand that strategy by Steve Belichick and company to have your DBs in that scenario playing such soft coverage. You were just welcoming the Packers to move it downfield and get into field goal range. It was as if you just didn't want to give up a touchdown. You would deal with losing by a field goal, but don't give up the touchdown. And I just thought that was ridiculous. They should have been playing up closer to the wide receivers, making it more difficult for Rodgers instead of making it so damn easy. Okay, so Greg's found the second play here. We're at 2nd and 8. This is the next drive. So this is the second drive of the game for the Patriots. 2nd and 8. They're once again in Green Bay territory at the Green Bay 35.
Yeah, they're at field goal range right now. They're at the 35. Even if they don't get anything on these next 2 plays, they kick a field goal and they're up 6-0. This is going to be another quick hitter. They're in shotgun. Harris is in the backfield. Hunter Henry is ex-ISO to the right. You have trips to the left. It looks like Parker. I think Aguilar and Lil Jordan Humphrey, of course. So this is another play where they're trying to run. Matt Patricia loves to run these rub routes. We see it a lot in the red zone. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get Harris out of the backfield. I guess he's anticipating pressure, but again, it's 2nd and 8, it's 2nd and 9, whatever. It's long yardage. Why would the Packers bring? Maybe if you think they're at once they get into field goal range, because the Patriots would blitz in this circumstance because they want to knock you out of field goal range. Maybe he's anticipating that. Maybe he's seen it on film. But basically what they're trying to do is Hunter Henry is going to run a rub. They think that Quay Walker, the rookie linebacker, is in man coverage against Damian Harris, and Hunter Henry's going to run a pick play on him. The problem is the Packers are in zone coverage, and they actually bring Walker on a blitz, and now the guy that Hunter Henry's supposed to pick is coming on a pressure. Now the safety comes down. Henry can't pick anybody, and the safety's there to make an open field tackle for a 2-yard loss. That sets up the next play is when Hoyer gets knocked out of the game on a sack. We'll look at that real quick.
Now it's 3rd and 10.
Now it's 3rd and 10. And this is the play where Isaiah Wynn thinks he's going to get help from Ramondre Stevenson with a chip. He sets up a little bit to the inside. Stevenson doesn't help him. And then there's the sack. And so, that was just a debacle. They were in field goal range, and to me, the second down play call was the key thing, and that led to them being knocked out of field position, set up 3rd and long. Gary just beats Wynn because he doesn't get a chip, and end of Brian Hoyer, end of that drive, they have to punt.
These are golden opportunities, and it goes back as Greg searches for the 3rd and final play he wants to show you all. It goes back to the situational play calling of Matt Patricia. And, look, it's a very difficult gig to have, offensive coordinator at the NFL level. But you have to, in critical situations, you have to know what play gives you the best chance to move the football against what defensive look you might have.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You have to anticipate, and you have studies, you have statistics to say, hey, they're a high percentage blitz team or man team on, at this point in the field, with this score, like this is what they're going to do. And that's really where the genius comes in play calling, is that you're outfoxing the defense, that you're anticipating what they're going to do, and you have the perfect play call for that. That's coordinating.
Yeah, and we're 1 month in, and what we see consistently from Patricia is a failure to diagnose the right play at the right time, especially when it's a critical situation. And if that continues, drives are going to stall, drives are going to be dead. You're going to be in field goal range like you just saw, and then lose 15 freaking yards from where you're set up. And instead of being at the Green Bay 35, when all is said and done, you're by the 50. Situational play calling is a big weakness right now for this offense. Hence, it's a big, big weakness for Matt Patricia. All right, the third and final play Greg wants to show you in the film room. We have a 2nd and 6. This is from your own 29 with 5:23 left in the game.
Yep, they had just run for 4 yards, Damian Harris, 2nd and 6. They can go down and win the game with a field goal. They hang on to the ball like they did in Pittsburgh. That opportunity is here. 2nd down was the crucial play. And what you'll see here is they are under center. Harris is the lone back. They have Aguilar, I think, to the top of the screen. They have Hunter Henry on the field. They're going to bring Lil Jordan Humphrey in motion to the close side of the field. We've seen this before. Every Patriots fan knows. All right, alert toss crack here. That Humphreys is going to come in here. Even Preston Smith, the Packers outside linebacker, points to Lil Jordan Humphrey. He knows he's alerting to them running that Humphreys is going to crack down on the outside linebacker, Preston Smith. And normally the Patriots run a toss out here. They block down and they try to get a play. So you're either anticipating, which wouldn't be a bad play in itself at 2nd and 6, you're anticipating that. Or if you're going to go for play action here, you're going to run play action off of that toss crack, because that's what everyone's expecting. If you toss the ball, fake like you're tossing to Harris, now all of a sudden everybody flows that way. And then if you still have the ball, somebody should be open. The problem is they don't run toss crack action. They run draw action. And you watch the linebackers, nobody moves. Nobody falls for play action, just sort of like last week. Like Lil Jordan Humphrey should be open if there's real toss crack motion, except everybody's covered everywhere. There's nobody open. Zappe does hold the ball long. I don't fault him for taking the sack because he couldn't get outside the pocket and get rid of it and just move on to the next down. Maybe he tries to scramble or something, but he's never been in this position. But to me, that you didn't marry what you were showing and the run action, to me, that was a play calling fail. It led to the play being a failure and contributed to it. And to me, that is another illustration of Matt Patricia just not being an experienced play caller.
Fantastic work by Bedard in the film room. We got to get to 3 up, 3 down, but for the Patriots versus the Packers. Greg, you start with your 3 up.
Okay, my number 1 up in the game. I mean, I probably don't feel great about this because I think he gave up as many plays almost as. But look, Jack Jones caused a fumble. He had a pick 6. This team needs the points at this point, so I guess I'll put Jack Jones number 1. But I do want to say that I had him for 5 minus plays in this game, and he gave up some plays in the past. He missed some tackles. He wasn't great at times. He showed that he was a rookie, but you get a pick 6 in a game like that sways everything.
I agree. I got him up there, and I feel the same exact way as you do watching him, but he's a rookie. I will say he's got to be better in the run game. He's got to be better tackling. I thought there was a stretch there where the Packers ran 3 times pretty much right at him. And, he did not respond. That is obviously a weakness in his game. If he can learn to tackle better, especially going downhill, then I feel pretty damn good, because in coverage, he's going to flash. He's going to flash and make some plays. So Jack Jones deserves to be on this list. Who's next?
I have, I just had who I wanted. crap. But I'll throw Trent Brown in there. I think this is the third straight game when he's been really good. You can make the argument for David Andrews, but I think considering they ran a lot behind Trent Brown on sort of weak outside zone, and that you didn't hear much from Preston Smith at all in this game, to me was a credit to Trent Brown, and they sort of rode the big fella, and I thought he played really well for the second straight game.
Matthew Judon, he's been really good all year. He continues to play well, and I hope that he continues that in the second half. Last year he fell off, but I thought he made some big plays. He had that rush on Rodgers, which was a gigantic play at the time late in the game. So I thought Judon showed up and played well.
Yeah, Judon was the other guy that I was thinking of. I had him for a sack, a hurry on third down, a half a knockdown. He continues to be impactful. He does a solid job in the running game. I have zero issues with Matthew Judon. I think he's played really well to start.
I'll throw Ramondre Stevenson in there. I love watching him play.
Yep.
There's a handful of plays where he gets like an extra 2 or 3 yards that he should not get. And I love how he runs, man. And that's going to be the strength of this offense and the strength of this team, even when Mac Jones gets back. This offense runs through Stevenson and Harris and then base everything off of that. And hopefully they can rack up some wins against some teams that are not as good because they have the opportunity over the next month or so. All right, you're 3 down.
Mack Wilson. He looks lost at times out there. He's had real issues, certainly in the Ravens game and now this one. Jamie Collins signing back is not a big mystery as to why. I think he's having a little bit of trouble adjusting to the scheme, Mack Wilson, and need a little bit more time maybe watching and learning, and was pressed into service with the Raekwon McMillan injury, but he just has not been good enough. He's been a big weakness in the middle of the defense.
Miles Bryant got beat 2 or 3 times against 40-year-old Randall Cobb. I kid. He's not 40. But he got beat 3 times, like critical plays too, like have to have it. 3rd and long, 2nd and like 19 or something crazy. Like have to have plays, and Bryant gets beat by Cobb. Just got beat by him. And I think it's time we start to maybe take a look at Marcus Jones and see if he can play out there. I would love to see if the rookie can compete with Miles Bryant, because he gave up too many plays in this game in critical times. Next guy for you.
I just had it, but I'll throw Isaiah Wynn out there. He's struggled. I did think he had some good plays in this game, but he's given up way too many hits. He's a big part of the reason why they keep losing quarterbacks. He's about to lose his job. I would be surprised if Marcus Cannon is not starting this week. And now you have a $10 million offensive tackle who's not even playing, which will be interesting, but it is what it is. He has not played well.
I'm going to jump to my third, because the other guy, actually, I'm going to jump to my second. But my third was, pick Tavai or Wilson, either inside linebacker. They both sucked. I'm going to go with Jake Bailey.
He was good one.
He was god awful. King of the touchback. Like, Belichick gave this guy an extension before the season. I don't know why. He wasn't good last year. People said, oh, it might be an injury. It could be an injury. He has not been good this year. He stunk on Sunday. He's one of the reasons why they lost this football game. And I know it's not sexy to talk about the punter, but when you have like 2 or 3 opportunities to pin these guys inside the 10 and you're kicking it into the end zone, do your job. He stunk.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And the only other guy that's a good pick would have been among my bottom 3. Daniel Ekwulale. No one's really going to care, but he's one of their reserve interior defensive linemen, and he flashes at times. He's more of a rusher, but in this game, I thought he was a huge liability in the run game when he was out there. And none of the guys. I mean, Godchow was not good for most of the game. Did show up a few times when he started playing. The first half, he wasn't very good. I mean, he's the guy you gave a contract extension to. When other teams run on you, you got to look at Godchow, and he was part of the reason. But to me, the worst guy against the run was Ekwulale. Extension to Bailey. He is stunk. Godchow, we didn't understand the extension. Belichick went out there and said he's one of the best defensive linemen or whatever the hell he said.
after the extension. And, he's not really popping again this year. Maybe it's just well beyond me, and it might be. I mean, Belichick has forgotten more football than I'll ever learn. But the run defense has not been good the last 2 weeks. They're getting chunked out. And, Barmore's getting double teamed because teams don't necessarily, fear anybody else on the inside of this defensive line. We talked about it. And look, we'll see how Tyquan Thornton does. And they drafted Cole Strange. And I know some people are happy with the draft, and that's fine. Have a long way to go before we evaluate it. But I will say this, even if you were fine with the Strange pick and the Thornton pick, going into this draft, we said, defensive line, big kind of run stopper. The kid from UConn, I forget his name, was kind of on the list as a possibility. And we said, that might help this defense. We also talked about a young inside linebacker that could run sideline to sideline. And, if you look at this defense right now, I think the two biggest weaknesses in the middle of the defensive line and also that inside linebacker spot. So we'll see. I like Jack Jones. I think Marcus Jones is going to be a player. I think Cole Strange will be fine in due time. We'll see what Tyquan Thornton brings. But, if you weren't going to draft at those positions, you might have wanted to go out there and try to upgrade from Carl Davis and some other guys and Tavai. But you were fine and dandy bringing those guys into camp and making them active on the roster. BSJ member question of the day, $39.99 annual plan. All the best coverage, John Corrales, Sean McAdam, Connor Ryan. They're killing it. And also the man who is talking to you today, Greg Bedard, with his film room and his chats, all that good stuff. Greg, what is the BSJ member question of the day?
Well, I grabbed one from Twitter. This guy, Chuck, he didn't like my commentary that the Patriots ran 9 plays and gained 14 yards when they had a chance to win the game. And he said one of the drives started at the 1. Okay, I understand. And I understand you have a third-string rookie quarterback and you want to – I'm not asking them to, go shotgun wide or whatever and do something stupid in the end zone. But, like, the point is that, like, you could have – You gain a first down there. You have a couple good plays that you feel good about, something that you haven't used yet. Nothing crazy, sprint out, especially like when they got the third down. I think it was 3rd and 3. Like, you couldn't do play action, like sprint out, like just something that the sticks. You get a first down, and then suddenly you're like, okay, we try a draw, or we try a screen here. Now that we have a little bit of room, then we hit a play near midfield. Then we're suddenly 1 or 2 plays away from kicking a game-winning field goal. I just don't think you can look at that and say, oh, well, they had the ball at the 1 yard line. They just need to punt the ball. I do think LaFleur's decision, wasting a timeout on that challenge, definitely factored into Belichick's decision there, where he was like, it's probably better off if we just go to overtime. And if they would have cashed in after holding Rodgers on 3 and out, he would have been right. But I still think you can't just wave the white flag there. You get a first down, then you make a decision. But I think the Patriots had every opportunity to be better in that circumstance, and they had another chance to win the game. At 2 minutes left in the game, you have the ball. All you need is a field goal. You have a chance to win the game, and they didn't do it.
I was fine with that drive and being conservative and playing for overtime. But look, to the Twitter sphere, they're going to nitpick. Let's eliminate that drive. Let's act as if that drive never existed, okay? So you take the 3 plays and the 7 yards they got on that drive. The other 2 drives, by my simple math, would tell you that's 6 plays, 7 yards. So we can focus on the one that they were at the 1 yard line. Who cares? You had 2 other drives that you could have won the game, and you had 6 plays and 7 yards on those 2 drives. So, it's ridiculous to look at the 3 drives that, totaled 9 plays and 14 yards and say, one of the drives was at the 1. Okay, great. Then eliminate that one. And the 2 other drives were absolutely awful. You could argue the drive from the 1 yard line was the most productive out of the 3. The hell are we doing? He's Greg. I'm Nick. Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast. Nick Cattles, brought to you by Athletic Greens. We'll be back later in the week to discuss Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions.
Matt Patricia Bowl.
Oh, Matt Patricia Bowl, the Patricia Bowl. Tyvi is going to cry at the 50 before the game. No, look, don't go to, don't overlook this team. Dan Campbell, he's crying during, training camp, and he's biting kneecaps and whatever the hell else he's doing. But this offense, they're putting up points, and they just went against Seattle without Amon-Ra St. Brown and without DeAndre Swift, and they put up a ton of points, and Goff threw 4 touchdowns. If you screw around, this team could score on you. So we'll talk about the Lions coming up later in the week. Until then, be good, be safe, and be healthy.